Hello everyone. The content of this video is about the fire detection and alarm system. It mainly explains the composition of the fire detection and alarm system and the introduction of the fire detection and alarm system. The fire detection and alarm system is a system that realizes early detection of fires and sends out fire alarm signals. It generally consists of fire triggering devices, fire alarm controllers, fire alarm devices, power supplies, etc. In the automatic fire alarm system, the devices used to detect fire characteristic information and generate fire alarm signals are called trigger devices, including fire detectors and manual fire alarm buttons. A fire detector is a device that can respond to fire parameters: smoke, temperature, light, gas concentration, etc., and automatically generate fire alarm signals. The fire detector is one of the most critical components and serves as the triggering device for the automatic detection of the entire system. Like the sensory organ of the system, it can continuously monitor and detect the initial signals of fires in the protected area. According to different fire detection parameters, it can be divided into smoke detectors, temperature detectors, photosensitive detectors, combustible gas detectors, and composite detectors. According to the structural form of sensors, they can be divided into point detectors and line detectors. Point-type smoke detectors respond to solid or liquid particles generated by combustion or pyrolysis, and can detect the concentration of aerosols or smoke particles produced by the initial combustion of substances as an early warning. Smoke detectors are very effective and should be used in important locations that require minimal fire damage. Point-type temperature detectors respond to fire signals such as abnormal temperature, temperature rise rate, and temperature difference. They are widely used, diverse, and low-priced fire detectors. According to the characteristics of the temperature detection parameters, they can be divided into three types: fixed temperature, differential temperature, and differential fixed temperature. Point-type photosensitive detectors, also known as flame detectors, mainly respond to the infrared, ultraviolet, and visible light emitted by flames. The photosensitive detector is particularly suitable for flammable and explosive places with sudden fire and no smoke, and is not affected by airflow disturbance. So it is currently the only outdoor fire detector that can be used. Common ones include infrared photosensitive detectors and ultraviolet photosensitive detectors. Combustible gas detector is a detector that responds to the concentration of a single or multiple combustible gases, including natural gas, liquefied gas, alcohol, coal, etc., mainly used to prevent potential fire, explosion, and toxic gas hazards. It is generally adjusted to trigger an alarm a half to a third of the lower limit of the explosive concentration. A linear fire alarm detector is a type of detector that responds to fire parameters around a continuous line, which can be an optical path or an actual line. The optical path is like a linear infrared beam smoke detector, and the actual circuit is like a cable-type linear fixed-temperature fire detector. A linear infrared beam smoke detector uses infrared radiation to form a detection source. By utilizing the diffusion of smoke, it can detect fires within a fixed range around the infrared radiation. Its working principle is to use smoke to reduce the amount of light emitted by the infrared emitter to the infrared receiver to determine the fire. When the dimming rate reaches the preset value, the detector emits a fire alarm signal. It can be divided into opposing and reflecting types, with the opposing type shown in the figure. Cable type linear temperature fire detector is a linear fire detector that responds to the temperature or temperature changes around a certain route. It is generally composed of a microcomputer processor, terminal box, and temperature sensing cable. According to different alarm temperatures, temperature sensing cables can be divided into 68 degrees Celsius, 85 degrees Celsius, 105 degrees Celsius, 138 degrees Celsius, 180 degrees Celsius, which can be distinguished by different colors, and so on. Regarding the selection of fire detectors, for the initial stage of a fire with smoldering, it is advisable to use smoke detectors. For fires that spread rapidly, generate a large amount of smoke and heat, and emit flame radiation, it is advisable to use temperature, smoke, and light detectors. For fires that develop rapidly, have strong flame radiation, and only produce a small amount of smoke and heat, such as fires involving light metals and their compounds, photosensitive detectors should be selected. For unobstructed large space protection areas, it is advisable to use linear fire detectors. For fires with complex situations or unpredictable fire formation characteristics, simulation tests should be conducted in the combustion laboratory, and appropriate detectors should be selected based on the test results. The manual alarm button is a device that generates fire alarm signals manually, and is one of the indispensable devices in the automatic fire alarm system. Common types include manual alarm buttons without telephone sockets, and those with telephone sockets. Manual fire alarm buttons with fire telephone sockets can also be connected to the fire dedicated telephone system, making it convenient to contact the fire center. The manual fire alarm button should be located in a prominent and easy to operate position. When wall mounted, its bottom edge should be 1.3 meters to 1.5 meters above the ground, and should have clear markings. Each fire compartment should be equipped with at least one manual fire alarm button. The walking distance from any location within a fire zone to the nearest manual fire alarm button should not exceed 30 meters. The fire alarm controller is capable of receiving and issuing fire alarm signals and fault signals, while also performing corresponding display and control functions. It is a pure alarm controller that can be connected to fire triggering devices or non-coded fire detectors through input modules or relay modules, and can also control simple linkage devices, such as sound and light alarms. At the same time, it can provide high-stability DC power to fire detectors. For fire alarm systems that require linkage control, a fire linkage controller needs to be installed. The fire alarm controller and the fire linkage controller can be independent of each other, or integrated products, known as fire alarm controllers, linkage type, which are widely used in practice. The main functions of the fire alarm controller, linkage type are fire alarm, linkage control, fault detection, that is detecting component faults, output line short circuits, power failures, etc. Component isolation, automatic conversion of main and backup power, controller built-in battery, storage of memory information, network communication, centralized monitoring, functions of centralized machinery. Some alarm controllers have added many practical functions, in addition to the basic functions specified in the national standard, such as intercom anti-theft alarm, combustible gas alarm, system testing, etc. With increasing cost-effectiveness, the fire alarm device is used to send a fire alarm signal to the alarm area in the event of a fire through special sound and light systems, warning people to take safe evacuation, fire extinguishing and disaster relief measures. Common alarm devices include sound and light alarms, alarm bells, and sirens. The proper setting of the automatic fire alarm system is directly related to the safety of the entire building and the lives and property of personnel. Therefore, the automatic fire alarm should have a main power supply and a DC backup power supply. The main power supply should be a fire power supply, and the backup power supply should be a dedicated battery. The capacity of the battery pack should ensure that the automatic fire alarm and linkage control system can continue to work for more than 3 hours under both fire and load conditions. This is the entire content of this video. Please continue to follow the relevant videos of the Construction Equipment Installation Project course. Thank you.